Okay, so I figured I might just do a voiceover on this, and this is my first attempt, so we'll see how this goes. Right now, I am just kind of laying out on the base of the board what's going to be my bottom sheet, the overall kind of layout of the box. I already designed the box at this point. It's for two 12w6's, so I don't remember exactly. I don't have the sheet in front of me right now, but probably somewhere around 1.3 cube per enclosure area. And then I did them individually vented because it's in a big what do you call it, semi truck. So I didn't want to screw around with possibly running into weird issues with the drivers interacting with each other in that much airspace. So kind of just laying it all out now, getting each individual piece cut. And yeah, so that was kind of my first layup of everything. And then right now I'm just kind of getting all my holes drilled and countersunk and everything. I build pretty much all my boxes with the old glue and screw method. I don't like screwing around with brad nails. First time I ever shot a brad nail into my thumb, I decided, nope, no more on that. It's kind of just designed it so it'd be relatively simple to basically separate enclosures, sharing a top and bottom with each other. Laying out the vent layout right now, and kind of getting everything cut, getting my airflow paths cut. I don't know, nothing crazy about it. Getting all the screws. I really like the glue and screw method because you can lay everything out beforehand, get everything put together, make sure everything fits exactly the way that it should, and then and have it all put together. My cat's losing his mind. Get it all put together, get it all basically finished without actually having to glue anything. So if you decide to make a change at some point, the worst thing you got to do is maybe cut a new panel for something. So right there I'm getting the base all lined up, got the center point all laid up there. Here I'm kind of stacking up things so that I have my widths for my port width, so everything kind of stays relatively square. Just makes it nice and quick to be able to lay things out. Sticking a little piece of wood in there, so I'm like, well, that's 1.5 inches. I'm gonna worry about it from there. Putting together those. Just, I don't know, a whole lot of nothing, but I figured I'd make a video of building a box at some point, so this was as good a time as any. Punching the holes. This is always kind of a pain in the ass when you gotta go underneath, keep everything held, make sure you're hopefully getting everything put in the right position, drilling the holes the way that you want them to end up being. But laying out that one. Everything. It's time consuming to build a box like this, but I don't mind it. Building a box is time consuming no matter how you do it, I think. So if you're going to spend the time doing it, then you might as well, especially for subs like this. I mean, W6s are such nice subs that, spend $900 on a sub, you might as well have a box that took some time to build and put some effort into it. There I'm kind of making sure everything's going to be square with that face. W6 is about as big a sub as I'll go with a single 3/4 inch sheet for the face of it. There's a really weird shot of the box. My short ass trying to lean over the thing. Getting the top piece on. It's probably a bunch of really annoying sounds, but volume's probably going to be all sorts of screwed up on this. I just set up my mixer board and grabbed a mic and started going. And there's the box kind of all put together in its basic form. Grab the camera and figured I'd take full video. I do love the way it always looks set up like that. Boxes always look so much more complicated before you've carpeted it, and then you throw carpet on it, and the whole point of that is to kind of hide all the cool stuff you did to it. There, I'm making kind of the inset for the face. I wanted to inset the subs just a little bit, give it a slightly cleaner look, to have the subs, the ring of them flushed up. And getting that, making sure that's the same diameter. Pretty much build everything with just a table saw and a router. I don't do anything super crazy as far as complexity of building a box. I like doing it simple. It's almost more fun to force yourself to be stuck using simple tools rather than getting a fancy CNC machine, all that stuff. It's the answer that you use when you don't want to say, I just don't have the money to buy a CNC table. There's a reason I don't spend the money. Here, I thought I was going to be fancy and router that, but I did not have a bit that would reach out far enough past there to do that. So I just ended up doing it with going back to the old jigsaw, table saw, router. If you can do it with that stuff, then might as well try to get fancy with a palm router once, and it doesn't work. There, I'm just making sure they all line up, getting that inner ring put out, then set the sub in there, get my outer area, get that stacked up, make sure I'm cutting it the same. I thought I was going to get fancy there again with the router. I was trying. I liked how these turned out, though. They turned out nice. I'm kind of rounding it over just to smooth it out so it has kind of a nice smooth look. Throwing some glue on there to hold it together and positioning everything, making sure everything's even. Slap a vise on there and call it good. Put all this together. Boy, time lapse is fun. Throw it on the router, edge it up. I think I'm getting to the point where I'm going to start putting glue on things. Kind of all laid out. My cat is losing his mind. Making sure that the sub can fit in between that center divider and the and it's in the face of the box. I should have checked that way sooner in the build process. When I was doing the initial design, I kind of checked, but you can only do so much on paper. But I'm laying everything out one last time just so I can make sure it all looks good. And then starting to throw glue on things. Just get the damn thing put together. Oh, good. It's going to be a fun noise. Luckily, I'm not good at YouTube stuff, so nobody's going to freaking care. There's probably about 4 people who watch this video, so. But I can say I did it. And that piece on there, I got a bunch of glue in between those faces, and then I'm just kind of holding them together. I didn't want to put a bunch of screws on there because you can see that part. And I sure as hell wasn't going to be able to get carpeting in there. Getting the ports laid out. I don't remember exactly what my lengths and everything were. W6s, I usually tend to just follow JL's numbers, like do 34 hertz and call it a day. They're good at what they do. Not big of a cab in that semi truck. I probably could have sat there and measured. Underwear is hanging out. I probably could have done a lot more work measuring the cab, but those guys are so busy with that truck that I barely. I think I got to see the truck in a parking lot for 10 minutes one day just to kind of take quick measurements, and then started designing. And then dude had some free time in between having to do hauls, so I just got on it. I think I busted this whole thing out and built the box in just a couple days after hours in the shop, and finished that all up. Getting those put together. I do like how those faces turned out myself. I think they just turned out clean. It was a nice, simple design, but added some depth. Because basically mounted the box, or not mounted, but I mean put it under the sleeper in the back, so you kind of look back there and these subs kind of sink in under the bed. Simple, clean design. A heck of a lot of output. I mean, considering how big the interior of that cab was, they definitely did work. So they're getting the top on. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Doopy shoopy doop. Screw. Putting all those in. Putting glue in the holes. I don't know. Yeah, I gotta take pictures. Next morning, come in, everything's dried. And then just start going at it with a chisel, get all the glue that comes off out of there. And then spend probably a disgusting amount of time sanding things and palm routering things. All just to hide it with carpet, and you'd probably never notice, but whatever. I think I'm watching YouTube videos as I'm doing all this. I keep looking past the camera. My phone sitting back there. Boy, ultra wide angle lens cameras. I think I shot this whole thing on my GoPro 360. Wide angle cameras make weird stances. Oh, there. Now I'm gonna throw some paint on it for that center port. Getting everything sanded. Just finishing touches and start throwing paint at it. Just so that any of the parts that you do see after everything's carpeted is nice and clean. You don't just see bare wood. Threw a little router lip on the edges, so you don't snag on anything if you pick up the sleeper and throwing tools under there next to it. Box was relatively small. Considering it's two vented 12s, it's a tiny box, but that's what W6s are good at. Tons of output, sound really good. Tiny airspace. I think a bunch of people are kind of coming and going at this. Boss Man has a really good band, so they're probably coming in, jamming, or getting ready for a show or something. Just getting carpet thrown on it. Nice, and I don't know. I still feel like I have no friggin' idea what I'm doing when it comes to building boxes, so I'm always like, and that all laid out. Everything tucked into the corners, and then I just inlaid the center pieces. I thought that would turn out nice. There's those. And those so I can wrap around the corners. Part of the box you're never really going to see, but somebody does look in there, then it's covered. Boy, I got lucky on these cuts. I thought I was giving myself a little bit extra, and they tucked in there really nicely. There was some tape on it, so when I use my glue, I don't get glue all over the other carpet, because then that looks like butthole. Boy, this is going to be a super interesting video for two people who care. Oh, there's the end of it. Okay, so I decided to add some pictures. Add a little bit of this. So here you can see the box after I finished up carpeting it, and then this is after I put it into the truck. Got the subs mounted into it, and then just a few of those to show what it kind of looked like at the end of the whole project. I think it turned out nice and clean. And then I've got some pictures throughout the build process itself here, and you can see the original kind of design drawings that I was designing from. Just a quick sketch up of what I thought would be a cool looking box, and then I turned it into physical stuff. So there's me kind of going through the process a little bit more in depth than just watching it fly by on a time lapse. There's that, and then here's getting the trim ring type things done, and then there's the same thing, just kind of finishing up stuff. There's it mostly together. Here's the last couple comparisons to the drawings. That's a shitty picture. And then there's the last one. So yeah, thanks for watching if you even see all of this.